Hello, and welcome to the virtual public meeting for proposed improvements to RM 620 at Anderson Mill Road in Travis and Williamson counties, Texas. My name is Brad Wheelis, Public Information Officer at the Texas Department of Transportation. This virtual public meeting has been pre-recorded. Thank you for participating in this virtual public meeting. Public participation is important in the transportation planning process, and TxDOT appreciates your input on the proposed project. In response to the unique circumstances presented by the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with TxDOT's continued commitment to safety, this virtual public meeting is being held in lieu of an in-person public meeting. This presentation will provide the same information that would have been shared during an in-person public meeting, and all meeting materials will be provided on TxDOT's website. The comment process will vary from a traditional in-person public meeting, and instructions for how to submit comments will be provided later on in this presentation. Following the virtual public meeting, the presentation will remain available on the TxDOT website until Friday, September 10, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. All project information can be found on the TxDOT website at www.txdot.gov, keyword search 620 Anderson Mill. The proposed project is anticipated to be programmed with both state and federal funds. Because of this, TxDOT is required to assess the potential environmental effects of the proposed project in accordance with federal standards. The process that is followed is called the National Environmental Policy Act process, otherwise known as NEPA. The NEPA process provides analyses of the potential impacts to the natural and human environment and helps the decision maker to make an informed decision on whether to proceed with the project. On December 9, 2019, TxDOT received a signed Memorandum of Understanding from the Federal Highway Administration that permits TxDOT to assume responsibility from the Federal Highway Administration for reviewing and approving certain assigned NEPA projects. This review and approval process applies to this project. This virtual public meeting will include the following topics of discussion: the purpose of the public meeting, the project limits, a description of the proposed project including a typical section, the need for and purpose of the proposed improvements, a history of public involvement to date, a description of the environmental studies being prepared, a description of the right-of-way acquisition process, the next steps in project development, and how to provide comments. The purpose of this virtual public meeting is to encourage and maintain effective communication with the public and provide project-specific information as it relates to the RM 620 at Anderson Mill Road Intersection Improvements Project in Travis and Williamson counties. Your input and comments are an important part of this process, and we encourage you to provide comments on this project. As I mentioned earlier, your continued participation throughout the planning and development of this project is very important. You are encouraged to talk to your neighbors and refer them to TxDOT so they can also make comments and be included in this process. This map shows the general vicinity of the proposed project. This proposed project is located in both Travis and Williamson counties and in both Austin and Cedar Park, Texas. The project is located along RM 620 at Anderson Mill Road from south of Foundation Road to Little Elm Trail. The proposed project also extends along Anderson Mill Road approximately 900 feet north and south of the RM 620 intersection. The project is approximately 1.2 miles in length, and the estimated construction cost is approximately $38 million. The existing RM 620 is a 4-lane undivided highway with direct driveway access and signalized intersections at Anderson Mill Road and El Salito Parkway. RM 620 has two at-grade 12-foot lanes with variable shoulders in each direction, separated by a 14-foot continuous centered left turn lane. There are no bicycle or pedestrian accommodations within the corridor, and drainage is provided in open ditches. The proposed project would add an elevated structure that would function as a bypass lane in each direction through the Anderson Mill Road and El Salito Parkway intersections. The proposed improvements would also include adding turnarounds at both the Anderson Mill Road and El Salito Parkway intersections. Additional right turn lanes will be added at the northbound RM 620 to eastbound Anderson Mill Road and at the eastbound Anderson Mill Road to southbound RM 620 intersections. The proposed roadway would be separated by a variable width median with curb and gutter. Bicycle and pedestrian paths would consist of a 10-foot shared use path where feasible. In constrained areas along the roadway, accommodations would consist of either an 8-foot shared use path or a 6-foot sidewalk. This figure shows a typical section of the proposed project facing northbound. The proposed project schematics are available at the project website for public review and can be found on the TxDOT website at www.txdot.gov, keyword search 620 Anderson Mill. As the population of the project area and surrounding region has continued to increase, so have traffic volumes and resulting congestion. In turn, mobility along this stretch of RM 620 and its intersection at Anderson Mill Road has decreased. A 2017 feasibility study identified the RM 620 at Anderson Mill Road intersection as one of the most congested areas within the RM 620 study limits, with an annual congestion cost of over $15 million. The forecasted growth based on TxDOT's historical analysis predicts the average daily traffic will increase 54% between 2018 and 2045. This proposed project would increase capacity on frontage roads, and the construction of bypass lanes would alleviate traffic at the El Salito Parkway and Anderson Mill Road intersections. Also, this project would provide emergency vehicles a relief route through this section and reduce congestion on state roadways and local streets. Public participation is an important part of the transportation planning process. In April 2021, area stakeholders and public officials were briefed about the project. That virtual teleconference reviewed the importance of the project, as well as the lack of reliability and diminished safety of the corridor. The presentation also included an overview of the RM 620 study background, including the feasibility study completed in 2017 and a refinement study completed in 2021. In May 2021, letters were sent directly to landowners of property located adjacent to the proposed project and that may be affected by the project, to inform landowners of the proposed improvements and to provide the opportunity to schedule a meeting directly with the TxDOT project manager and right-of-way manager. These meetings continued into August 2021. For this virtual public meeting, elected officials and area stakeholders were notified by email and mail, and notices and letters were also sent to all adjacent landowners as identified by the Travis and Williamson County Central Appraisal Districts. Notices were also mailed to community facilities, such as schools, daycares, churches, and emergency services, and posted in local newspapers in English and Spanish. Since the proposed project would utilize state and federal funds, it is required to adhere to NEPA. NEPA requires analysis of potential impacts to the human and natural environment as a result of the proposed project. As part of the environmental process, technical analyses are being completed to document the potential environmental impacts of the proposed project. The resource categories under study include biological resources, including threatened and endangered species and their habitats; water resources, including waters of the U.S. and wetlands; cultural resources, including historic and archaeological resources; hazardous materials; traffic noise; community resources; air quality; and parklands protected under Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act. The results of these studies will be available during the public hearing process once the analyses are completed. The public hearing for this project is anticipated to occur summer 2022. The proposed project is expected to be processed as an environmental assessment. All environmental documentation will be developed in accordance with NEPA and TxDOT, as well as to FHWA standards. This map shows the project limits as they relate to the regulated TCEQ Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service identified karst zones. Approximately half of the project area lies within the Edwards Aquifer Recharge Zone, east of the RM 620 and Anderson Mill intersection. The entire project limits occur within Karst Zone 1. The proposed project is located within an urban area comprised of high-density residential and commercial development. Vegetation communities are primarily comprised of mowed and maintained vegetation, with ash juniper oak and live oak woodlands. The project area contains potential habitat for federally listed species and will undergo formal consultation with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The proposed project also contains 2 wetlands and 1 small spring-fed stream, an unnamed tributary to Bull Creek. While wetlands and the stream occur within the proposed right-of-way near the southeastern project limits, these features would be avoided during construction activities and therefore would not be impacted by the proposed project. The proposed project would require approximately 27 acres of new right-of-way. Potential displacements include approximately 20 commercial structures. No residential displacements are anticipated as a result of the proposed improvements. Once environmental clearance has been obtained and the project has been fully authorized, TxDOT would commence the acquisition process. All right-of-way acquisition would be done in accordance with the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970, commonly referred to as the Uniform Act. Brochures, including 3 booklets titled The Purchase of Right-of-Way, Relocation Assistance, and the Landowner's Bill of Rights, are also available for you on the virtual public meeting website at www.txdot.gov, keyword search 620 Anderson Mill, or at the web address shown here. These documents contain detailed information on the process and requirements for appraisal and negotiations, as well as detailed information to inform you of your rights as a property owner. In all cases, the property owner would be reimbursed for any reasonable incidental expenses necessarily incurred in transferring title to the acquired property to the state. If you have questions about right-of-way acquisition, please call the TxDOT Austin District Office at 512-832-7000. The RM 620 and Anderson Mill Road intersection project timeline is contingent on funding, right-of-way acquisition, and utility relocation, and as such, dates are subject to change. The proposed project does not currently have construction funding, but TxDOT is actively seeking funds to advance the improvements. This timeline shows where we are in the overall project process. The schematic development began in fall 2019. This virtual public meeting will be followed by completion of the schematic design in the fall of this year. A public hearing for the project is planned for summer 2022, and an environmental decision is expected in winter 2022. Following completion of the environmental process, TxDOT will begin the acquisition process by spring 2023. The project could begin construction as soon as 2027. Written comments from the public regarding the proposed project are requested and may be submitted directly online on the virtual public meeting website. You can also submit comments by email or mail by filling out a comment card available on the project website. The project website can be found at www.txdot.gov and by using keyword search 620 Anderson Mill. You can mail your comments to the TxDOT Austin District Office at the address on your screen or via email as listed here. All comments must be received on or before Friday, September 10, 2021. Responses to comments received will be available on the TxDOT website once they have been prepared. If you have any general questions or concerns regarding the proposed project or virtual public meeting, please contact Matthew Cho, Project Engineer and Project Manager, at 512-865-7945 between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. or at the email address on your screen. Thank you for your participation in the RM 620 at Anderson Mill Road Intersection Improvements virtual public meeting. Please remember to submit your comments by Friday, September 10, 2021.